talk about the early round here. So we start A main, right? I think starting A main is pretty good when they don't have a breach, but in this case we're probably just gonna trade breach stuns, right? You stun, they stun, and then
Yeah.
in this case they have neon, so they can beat your stun timing if you wanted to, and then also Raze could technically beat it as well with the satchel. So most of the time I play sand as Raze, even if they don't have breach, but I think it's just a lot more consistent this way. You dodge stun. You can always get your boombot to bounce right side, and then you open the door. You can nade with your breach stun if you have one. It's just a lot more consistent that way, and I feel like you want to also maximize your close range encounters on Raze, and this fight here is pretty long range. So just capitalizing off of your utility is going to be a little bit easier, Sand. That's the first thing, and then we kind of just sit here idle until they just re-hit A. It's not that bad, but maybe it would have been better for you to like retake A main at some point, because like right here your neon peaks sees nothing, right? And it might be worth for you to just walk into A main or even just rotate. Even though they do come back A, I think when you get info that there's no one A main, like you want to take it or you want to rotate, which is kind of weird that they come and regroup drop, to be honest. But a little bit more, I guess, proactiveness in the mid round here, because technically you don't have info agents. Fracture doesn't really work like that. You don't have info agents. No one plays like really Fade or Sky or Sova, so you gotta just get info mid round by pushing shit, and this would be a good opportunity for that. How'd you throw that? I'm gonna steal this. You go on the right, aim in the middle. All right, PPOG.
I don't hear anything. Go.
It's good. It's good. It is good to go push though.
Okay.
I think you played this round pretty much perfect though. Like you played top tower start when your teammates were playing for dish. I guess that's what this guy was doing, stunning for the neon. So it's good that you're just playing safe here.
Oh, yeah.
I personally probably wouldn't have played top tower though. I think I would have boombotted and dropped down and played around here. So if they opened the door, I could nade off this wall and bounce it back. If they were if they were sand splitting. In this case, they don't sand split. They just open the door and fall back. But just so you can contest sand a little bit better and not get smoked off, I would probably drop down. But you retake sand after, which was good. And then if the nade was good, I think you would have won the round, to be honest. But a little bit of tip on the nade, you probably want to just ping it on the map maybe. I feel like also W keying throwing nades is pretty inconsistent. At least in my case. So I think this is pretty good range here to just like left click, and instead of like running and left clicking. But that's probably something worth testing out. I think you play this round pretty much perfect though. If the nade kills this guy, bomb goes down, they have to cross, get bomb, and you guys still have dish, you probably win. Or at least it'd be close.
Hey, let's play.
Yeah, so that's what I mean by the neon beating the stun, but I guess you also dodged the stun, which works out. So it's pretty unlikely that they go for a refrag here once this explodey goes, right? It's really hard for them to retake A main at this point because they don't have breach stun and neon died. So I mean they could just flash and swing, but at this point, like with the stun, I would have already started walking right side, I think, and then see if I could rotate. Because it's pretty easy for them to just like cancel and run back and go B.
Yeah.
So if you want to match the timing, that's what you want to do. But you hold it a little bit, ask for the smoke. I mean, this is good too. He calls chamber B main. Yep. No. He calls chamber B main. You might as well just leave, I think. Let your neon hold the smoke, whatever. You can hold a little bit longer for his orb, but I'd be gone for sure.
I'm leaving A.
Oh, sorry. Go.
Okay, so one thing to note here is anytime you feel like they're rushing you, your nade is not going to be quick enough, right? Like if you throw a nade at a guy, it's going to take too long to detonate. They're just going to swing past and fight you, and you have to pull out your gun. In this case, the neon kind of just runs past you, so you get lucky. But when you hear people rushing you, you either just want to throw a satchel at them, or just swing dry, or just pop your ult and then try to finesse yourself with the satchel. But generally, if you're playing close quarters and you think that they're about to rush you, your nade's not going to be quick enough. And that's what happens here. So I'd probably throw satchel, swing this guy, or just pop ult earlier and then come back and yeah. A little bit lucky. We get a nice kill on this guy. Right here with the ult satchel, you want to look directly down, and so your satchel is on your feet. It's a little bit awkward here because it ends up throwing a little bit too far, but I think you have the correct idea. But just to give you like a little bit of a better satchel. And then of course this was all good.
One you mean? One B main, B main.
Probably go out with that ult right there.
Okay, okay. One arcade. Tower.
Tower, one be main.
Tower.
Ooh. I think here when you brimble, you nade B main and you go out. And so, because the only thing that you have to worry about right now is arcade and then close right. I guess technically they could be close left too. But what's the point of ulting and then not going out with it, you know? That's like kind of up to your team as well, but it's a little bit of a wasted ult here.
Viper here.
BTB CT.
I like how you're alone, Sand. Like your teammates just didn't give a fuck.
Out CT. One side. One drop.
Ooh,
Low,
NT.
Neon's low.
A sad part, I guess, is when we go Sand, we don't really, because these smokes are here, you don't really get to use your nade at all. And I think your nade probably could have like turned around.
CT. One side.
But
One drop.
yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. This guy just slides out too. We're literally 5B main. So if you're ever 5B main, like, I mean, it's good to cancel, but it's kind of just signifies a B rush anyways, right? So, you know, the stun goes up, you boombot here, like, we just need to go. Like, you need a nade, like, back default or something like that, and then just try to go out. Maybe a neon walls up or something. But, like, we literally drop both smokes, too. And I guess your neon's not going as well, but it's really up to you guys to really make the space here. So, yeah, I would just try to brute force this since we are 5 here, and getting the orb is just too slow. So they make a pretty good aggro play here, just you know, insta-stun with the arcade push. That's pretty respectable. We didn't do that on our defense half, but that's it. Even though you died to arcade, your teammates were able to actually go out B main for free, and that's kind of the benefit of splitting, right? So normally you send majority arcade, so you can actually just like kill these guys and take tower control that way. In this case, since you get aggro there, your teammates just are able to insta take B main, and then eventually your neon ends up getting this double kill. So splitting on this map is definitely the way to go. Yeah, here he is with the double.
I'm ulted. Yeah.
So another round start here where we get punished by breach stun, right? We take 55 damage from the nade plus stun. The same thing happened the previous round where you arcade as well. So definitely try to be a little bit more aware, I guess, of their insta util. They have a lot of stopping power in their team, right? They have the neon stun, Viper Molly. In this case, they also have chamber ult, and they have breach stun and Raze nade, right? So anywhere you go, you guys are just gonna get insta cancel, and this goes back to the other point where, you know, you don't really want to be 5-manning.
Push him in, sorry.
So yeah, in this case, you can see, right, we're just all grouped here. At the start of the round, we get stopped by their breach stun, the nade, now we're just chilling, and your chamber trip's not really deep. So, you know, they get the flank off, and they just know that you guys are all here. Either they get info here right away, or if they were to do an arcade push again, or even if just one guy were to peek dish, right? If they get anywhere, any info on the other side of the map, they can kind of just like box you guys in. It's not very ideal here, so against all the stopping power, you just definitely need to spread out, and this showcases it here instantly. Okay, so let's go back. So we just decided to sit next to the spawn smoke, right? We don't really go for the push. Your neon ends up killing 2 guys that come out sand here. Your job when you went out sand split, like you were actually the only guy that went out the door to split the A site. But it's really important, I guess, that you first of all stay alive. So it's good that you kind of play a little bit more reserved. But when you notice that there's one drop, you kind of want to take space at least towards spawn, or at least stay towards sand. Your neon ends up doing it for you, right? Controlling sand space, but if you were going to go this far deep, you'd probably just want to end up getting the smoke anyway, since you know they're playing drop. You can contest the rotates, or, you know, you can just try to hold sand down completely. But it's a pretty small thing here, but when you come up, you know, make sure you clear tower, clear canteen, and then the next one you should always do top gen. You don't really lose anything from pre-aiming top gen, but you'll find that you actually will win the fight more oftentimes than not, because the guy holding top gen has to hold like kind of in the middle, because you can peek from the close angle or the far angle. So it's, if you pre-aim it, you have the advantage. So I like that you go for the dish walk this round, right? We're spreading out finally, and then our teams are grouped A main. So, you know, when you're having like a really hot game like you are this game, and you're dropping 20 plus, you're having trouble getting kills just running it down on T side. I think it's pretty good for you to split up in this case and kind of just try to take your duels. we know that the Viper ult's on site, right? So the boombot gets broken here, and you know that there's one sand. And this would probably be a really good timing for you to just, go for your ult kill on this guy's sand, make some space, right? Your teammates are kind of just stuck behind this ult. So you can almost, it's not really free, but you can force this play, get some control of sand, and if you get the kill, then you have a much better chance of winning the round here. And then also on top of that, we haven't really used our ult, I don't think, once this half. So it would be good to try to just pump it out here, especially since it is 10-10. Take that timing.
One tower. One tower.
So this was pretty good, right? You guys actually did another B split. You guys ended up getting the kill on Neon. You breach stunned a little bit early, so maybe you have to be the one to call that, right? He stuns right here, right? So I thought that you knew that he went for the stun. So if you wanted to capitalize off this, you would just double satchel in the tower right away. But the better play, honestly, is probably just to avoid tower and wait until your B main guy gets all the way up, and then you can try to pinch it together. Maybe throw your nade before you go up the rope, because you don't have to force the space anymore, right? You guys killed the arcade guy, and then these guys gotta pick B main, I'm pretty sure. So it's 5v3, right? You can go up the rope here, just give your life, since we're not able to peek it with the util. So we just took A main control pretty easily, right? Your breach stun, chamber TP'd out, your boom butted toward door, right? And then now we're just getting insta double flanked. This is a result, I guess, of how we were playing earlier in the half, which is very 5-man oriented. And the defense kind of have adapted to that. They're just insta pushing every round, right? The previous couple of other previous rounds, they've aggressed arcade. Now they're doing it B main, right? So they're just really pushing these early timings in the first couple of seconds. They're getting info and just insta flanking you, or they're just punishing you guys because you're actually where the aggression is. So against a team like this, when you're having a little bit of trouble on T side and they're just running it down, it's good for you guys to kind of just spread around the map, hold for a little bit, see where they kind of waste their util. Maybe they util dump towards arcade, you get that pick, maybe you can start B main and throw some util there, or have your breach or neon start there just to stop this early aggression. But since we're not stopping the early aggression, they're just getting way too much info for free. It's pretty unfortunate, honestly. This guy's just jumping around. But another start of the round where we've kind of just get killed on the aggression, or like we've just lost value again, right? I think this is probably the third or fourth time, but the first 10 seconds we're just being on the back foot every single time. So Fracture is pretty easy for defense to go for aggression, just because breach stun is so powerful on all these lanes, right? You can breach stun tower arcade on this line, and then you can start and stun this line, right? Like you can do this one, you can even do the dish one. There's just so many lines for breach stuns on this map, so you really have to respect the breach anytime you are playing against the breach on this map. And just wait a little bit, wait like 10 seconds, hold for a little bit, spread out, and just hold map control, and then you can go into whatever you want. Or you could, if you wanted to, you could break the timing on breach stuns, right? So if he was like, for example, stunning A main instantly, you guys could stun beacon and then have the neon run past the stun and then do that. That's very viable too. But you just have to play around the breach stun, like either by breaking the timing or just by waiting for it. And these early aggressions, even though they didn't stun you this round, we're just getting punished way too much. I think the main thing, really just to recap offense, is that you guys just needed to spread out a little bit more, hold the map control, because they were just really pushing you guys in and just boxing you guys in. You guys are just 5-manning everywhere, so definitely try to spread out. You had a really good defense half, and going into T side, you're feeling pretty hot. So in games like that, when you're feeling like you're kind of just on top of the world and just winning your duels, it's probably good for you to not really force your way into bomb sites, right? Like just 5-manning, running in, hoping that your teammate's utility is really good. Maybe you can just walk around the map and just take dry fights. So, you can walk up, take dish solo, you could walk up, take arcade. But just really try to avoid getting util dumped, because now you're in a situation of like not being able to play the game, Top of that, you guys won 3 rounds on T side and 2 of them were B splits. Just goes to show the power of B splits, right? Or I guess splitting any site in general. You guys were trying to take A, but you were really the only one going through sands. So definitely worth trying to split sites more often as well. But overall, I mean, you had a pretty good game. T side was just pretty tough.